All right, let's see. Everything looks like it's up and running. Okay, so I had a couple people ask me about setting up Square recently in our community, and so because of that, I wanted to do just a simple stream just to kind of go over how to set up an account. Above me, you'll see a URL. It's also going to be in the show notes below. I'll also drop it in the chat and in the comments as well. Now that referral code is going to be good for you and for me. I actually do get some benefits off of it. Now, we're just going to go ahead. People have asked me, they have their own collections, they have their own stuff, and they don't want to just trade it in, so they want to get on selling them. The point of sale that I recommend a lot of people use, especially if you're newer or if you're just kind of a sole proprietorship, putting your feet out there into the water. I would recommend a lot of people use Square. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not some, highly esteemed, highly educated person. I'm just going off of my own personal experience of how I've started my business and how I've built it several years. So the Square point of sale system is the one that I use. That's why I recommend a lot of people use it, because I know from personal experience a good deal about it. They have their own capital program, so if you need funding for your business, a lot of the time if you meet certain criteria, they can provide capital, and it's just a lot easier because as you take payments, they'll take a percentage to pay off the capital. So they have capital. They've also recently acquired a hosting service and a website development service, so the e-commerce side is easier than just about any other platform that I've used ever. If you are dealing in things like trading cards, one of the big names out there is TCG Player. I've been in several meetings with staff members from TCGplayer.com. They are currently developing an application application to integrate TCG Player order platform with Square Point of Sale. So right now, it's just the most effective for my business. I have people, that we have authors that we work with, we have musicians that we work with, we have artists that we work with. There are general people that are just collectors, comic books, trading cards, toys, whatever. And for some of those categories, swap meets, trade shows will do pretty good, but you still need some way to record your sales, to take card payments and stuff like that. And the fact that Square also has a mobile app makes it my preferred way, because that's a mobile application. That's the platform I use whenever we're at trade shows and conventions, anytime we have to book anything that we use. Also, they have their own bank system. It's tied in with their capital system. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but once you reach a certain threshold, you can actually get a business debit card, and all of your transactions can go into the reserve that will be used with that debit card. Or you can have all your transactions linked to your personal bank account or your business bank account, however you structure that, and you can just have all of those payments sent directly there. It's really whatever's easiest for you. This is just the most robust platform that I've found. So without a little bit further ado, I'm going to show you what it's going to look like whenever you first click on the URL. So whenever you click on the squareup.com/I/John RL MCNA, it's going to bring you to a page similar to this one here. Now on this page, it's got a quick setup program, and so it says Magnetic Games invites you to try Square. Now, because of the referral code, if you use that code, you will receive free processing on up to $1,000 in credit card transactions for the first 180 days. So if you're just wanting to dip your toes in the water, see how it goes, that gives you $1,000 in credit card transactions that they won't charge you processing on. Now, their standard processing is 2.6% plus 10 cents per swipe for all major credit cards. So you want to make sure that whatever you're selling is worth enough to be worth that swipe, because if you're going to pay 2.6% plus 10 cents, you don't want to do that for a decent drink or something. You want to, make enough money to kind of cover yourself. And so on this page, you're going to enter your email. You'll confirm your email. Okay. My Alexa just chimed in. Anyway, so you're going to enter your email, confirm your email. You'll create a password. You also have to input your country. It looks like that's probably locked to the United States right now. So if you're in another region, you might have a little bit of a hard time. In some cases, you'll have to confirm some sort of CAPTCHA by just clicking the box, maybe confirming a couple items. Boats. So we have to select all the pictures of boats and verify. There we go. Then you agree to Square's terms, privacy policy, and their e-sign consent form. And so once that's done, you just click continue, and that's pretty much all to get you started. Now, we're going to take a brief intermission. I'm going to log into my platform and my portal and give you kind of a behind the scenes view of what things look like once you're logged into Square. So just to go over these three main topics, that has a pretty quick setup. Getting started is simple, so you can start selling right away. You get paid fast. You can see payments in your bank account in as little as 1 to 2 business days once you link up your personal bank account. If you choose to go with the Square card at a later day, you can see that money almost instantly. You can also accept all major credit cards. You get to pay one rate for swipe, dip, or tap of Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and here's another big one, is American Express. American Express, for some reason, is not accepted by some other point-of-sale systems or some other mobile payment platforms, so that's yet another opportunity for Square to shine for you. So let me go ahead and pop over to an intermission. I'll get logged in, and then I'll show you what you're looking at on the back end.
Innovation, otherwise known as AutoPack. Senseless Motion, sold as innovation.
Okay, and we're back, and I'm logged in, so let me get this set. Alright, so you can see here that we have logged in. This is what the platform looks like running. You can see, this is your general dashboard. You have your home section up here. You can see business. If you have multiple businesses, you click the drop down link. You can see we have Magnet Games and we have MGR Distribution. We have two different. We have Magnet Games, which is our storefront primary. It's what we do with trade shows, anything like that. As far as any business to business stuff, we use sole proprietorship of MGR, which is a DBA, which is doing business as. We're doing MGR distribution, and we do that for distributing any of our games, books, any products that we manufacture or that we publish, or any B2B, interactions. That all goes to MGR.
Don't be afraid.
That way it makes things easier.
Chord progressions,
to go
sounds,
a little bit. So let me fade that in. Now, we're not going to mess with that too much because a lot of you are going to be beginners, and so there's no need to set up multiple businesses. I'm going to just come up with a general thing. If you're just an author, maybe your own name, do a sole proprietorship or something. Sole proprietorships, depending on which county, which state you're in, they're all structured and formed a different way. Same with the DBA. Sometimes you have to license them, sometimes you have to register them, sometimes you don't, sometimes they're just implicit. It all depends. But from this dashboard, you can kind of see, welcome back, here's your business at a glance. Right now we have a balance of $166.31 that is currently pending. Now, if we were to click the transfer now button, what that would do is that would initiate a transfer of that money to our business bank account. Now, our business bank account, it usually takes about, I think, 3 days, roughly, give or take, for the money to transfer over. Now, you could do an instant transfer, but that does cost, I think, just like a 1.5% transfer fee, like instant transfer fee. So, if you have to send it to your business bank account, and if you have to have it today, there is a little bit of an extra fee. If you can wait about 3 days, and it has to go into your business bank account, then you can just hit transfer and just go with the regular transfer. We actually use. I can show you. This is this is a business card from Square. So if you use the Square card, the Square bank account, and everything like that, they'll send you one of these nice sleek white cards, a little logo, your business name on it. And it is a MasterCard. So if you have a preference, what they're running with. But you can see in the last 30 days, how many total customers you had, how many new customers, how many returning, what's the average spending amount per visit, average visit customer, any positive or negative feedback that you've got. You can also choose to take a payment, send invoice, or add an item right here from this platform. And those are a couple of things. Now down here, you also have what's called the seller community. You can log in right from here and you can see all the news articles, new platforms, new questions, just about anything. They have articles about recent acquisitions, what's coming up. Sometimes there'll be a question if someone gets lost with the platform and they're not entirely sure. The seller community message boards is where a lot of that stuff is. There's a plethora of information, more than I will probably ever even touch on. Now, we haven't really had any sales today because we're closed today and I've just been working on the shop. But, if anybody was paying, they would have preferred payment types, if it's cash, card, gift card, whatever. Of items by sales, so you can try and see which items are trending the best, and then top categories as well. Going back into payment types, that's another thing that I forgot to mention, is that Square partners with eGift Card, I think is the name of the company. I may be wrong, but there is actually a gift card option where you can get your own branded gift cards done as well. So if someone wants to support your business, but they're not entirely sure what their friends are going to like, they can actually just buy gift cards from you, and you can even get electronic gift cards that can be emailed over to their friends. And so that way it guarantees that, there's something for everybody. Because even if your friend doesn't know what to get, their significant other or their friend or whoever, they can go through that and they can use that. It's a little impersonal, but they make sure that somebody's going to get something they want. Now it has recommended products down here. Everything glitched up a little bit. Now there's a Square register. If you're going to be at a location set up, the register is really nice. You can dock a little iPad in it. It's got a little swipe area. You can hook up a receipt printer and a cash register and everything like that. And you can, whole shebang set up. Essentially, that could run an entire store. Team management, if you have multiple people. If you're just starting out, you're probably not going to have that. It's probably just going to be you. There is a loyalty program. There is a monthly charge to keep up with the loyalty program. But if you have a large pool of people, the loyalty program will kind of create a competition among some of them, and it would also incentivize some people to come back. So, risk versus reward. Sometimes you spend money to make more money. It just depends. This is the gift card option that I touched on recently. There's Square for Retail, which is a more advanced platform than this here. This is your standard setup. I'm running on the standard. I'm running on the basic. You have Square for Retail, which does a lot more inventory management and a lot more insights and a lot more analytical data available through Square for Retail. I think you also get to track cost of goods and everything, so you can get a full breakdown of all your money's going. And there's Square for restaurants. Square is a good platform if you're running a restaurant and you're just starting that up, because you can get a Square register and you can set that up at your counter. You can also get a few little cheap phones, mobile devices with a little Square scanner that plugs straight into the headphone jack, and you can give those to your employees or your waiters, waitresses, and everything. They can go out, service the customers, take care of them, take their orders straight through the mobile app. It will show up in your Square register, and you can even link that back to a receipt printer or a ticket printer in the kitchen, and it'll print those orders out. Makes the whole process seamless, easy, and everything, to the point where your wait staff technically take the payment right at the table. There's nothing to even worry with. And they have these new things called the Square terminals if you would like to just leave something at the table so that way they can pay themselves. But that's more in depth. That's way later, and that's something else. But just going from here, the main things you're going to be looking for is, how do I set up? We've walked through the process of just creating a basic account. How do I complete the setup process? How do I add my products in? And how do I take a payment? So those are going to be the main things that we look at. Give me just 1 second and I'll get that pulled up. So go here. All right, so in the top left area, there were these 3 little lines. If you click them, then it brings you this entire platform here that you have access. So there's a payroll option. If you have a team, you can add your team members. You can see, how many hours each one works. You can even process payroll so that way it can direct deposit straight into their account. You don't even have to handle with any physical checks or anything. That's if you get to that point. There is the Square Capital program. It's beneficial to be in it because with the recent pandemic that happened, the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL, all that stuff, Square Capital had a streamlined application process, and because all of our sales have gone through Square, all of our sales data was there. So it was very easy to integrate and to fill out those applications because it was all in one place. So we were able to get that funding fairly easily. Now, Risk Manager is a newer tool. It allows you to kind of see what you're looking at as far as loss and shrinkage if you have a physical storefront, because sometimes things get broken, sometimes things just wear down over time, and sometimes, accidents happen and stuff gets lost. There's the online checkout process, which we'll see about that. I don't know if I'll get into that this go around. You have your account and settings, which is what we're going to go over here in just a second. You have any pending orders. So if someone places an order on the website, you'll get a notification through your mobile app or through your point of sale register. And this is where you would click on so that way you can see any pending orders. I'm not going to click on that right now just because if we do have any orders, there may be sensitive customer data, and that wouldn't be very, kind of me to share live stream. You have the online virtual terminal. You have your items library, your current balance, which we saw from the overview. That's currently what's pending in between, in the Square card right now. Then we have our customer management. One thing that Square is going to do is if a customer has bought something at another store that uses the Square platform or online or anything like that, Square will migrate that customer's data from that Square register over to yours. It will capture that data and you will now have a customer. A fun story, I actually had a few competitors who never stepped foot in our establishment, but actually had other individuals come in for them. Members of their family and everything would come in, but they wouldn't. And so the way I knew that was because I got a notification that, new customer data had been added to our customer list. And when I've seen it, I've seen, that's so-and-so's family. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of fun information that you get from that. You get to see who you're really dealing with. And that's really good if you're in an area where you're having to kind of watch sensitive information, such as, who actually comes into an area. If you're dealing with a business that's predominantly geared towards kids, it's always good to see who's coming in, who's interacting with your business, and who's actually inside your establishment. Now reports, this is going to be general reports, cash drawer amounts, how much should be in the drawer, how much you've paid in, how much you've taken out, sales reports, transaction reports, anything, your basic information like that. If you buy a more premium option of Square, then, it gets a little bit more in depth, and that's where those extra analytics and those extra insights are at. You have a full transaction list of all money that is coming in, so that is every sale that you make. And since we have this card on our account, it's also everything that our card has spent. So I get to see every penny that we're spending, where it's going, specifically who's using it, and I get to see how much money is coming in and who that's coming from and what items people are, leaning more preferential to. You have an invoicing option. If you go into here, you can create estimates or invoices. So if somebody just wants to know, hey, how much is this going to cost me? You can go into this invoices option. You can create an estimate, shoot it over to them, and then if they click to approve it, then it converts the estimate into an invoice, and then you can process that and process payment and get paid. Makes that whole process a lot easier. And then we have the home, which brings us back to the dashboard that we just went over. And then we have the virtual. But right now we're going to be in accounts and settings. And so right now you have your personal information. I'm not going to click on that right now because there is sensitive information there. But you would go to personal information, make sure that your DBA or your sole proprietorship information or whatever your business is structured as. You would have your business name, you would have your business email address, you would have a 4-digit passcode that you would use. You can use that to lock your point of sale system and to lock your mobile app, so that way no one can just pick up your phone and I'm gonna access all their stuff and refund all their orders. You don't want anybody to have access to that. So there's a 4-digit PIN that is required to access a lot of sensitive information, and that's where all that was set up at. Your bank accounts, pretty self-explanatory. You'll need your bank account type, whether it's savings or a checking account. You'll need the bank account number and your routing number. And right here is where you will link it. It will also ask you to name the bank account. Usually the way we do it, since we have multiple accounts, we name it, whatever the bank institution is. So we have 3 different banks, and so I see, Bank A, Bank B, Bank C. So I can see exactly where stuff's going. Email notifications. I have everything turned on just because I want to see everything come through. I want to have notifications. I want to see sales summaries, monthly summaries, the information. I love information. I love analytics. So the more I can get, the better it is for me. I don't have to go digging for it. It's just right there in my email. So at the end of a shift, I can come home, sit in bed, scroll through my emails, and see what all happened. Authorized representatives. If you have to reach out to Square customer support, and you have somebody else that's helping you, that's where you would put their information in. If you have somebody that would be making those phone calls for you, you would want to put their information in, so that way that would authorize them to talk to Square customer service on your behalf. Then there's security, which, if you want to change your password or anything like that, and that's where all the secure connections are. Then there's an option for get free processing. Get free processing is actually where you will find a referral code, just like the one I have above me in the comment section and in the chat below. That referral code will get you either $1,000 of free processing within 180 days, or can actually help you to get some basic equipment, such as I think one of the little mobile cards. I think when you first set up with Square, you qualify to get one of those for like a reduced price. In some instances, they even have like a free promo going on. Then you have the business option here. You can hit that drop-down menu, and so you have locations. This is your transfers, your receipts, tax forms, devices, Square Secure, CCPA, pricing and subscriptions. So if you, like we had mentioned, all the extra services for retail, the more advanced platforms, restaurants, that's where the pricing and subscription would be. Locations, if you're running multiple locations, if you got like multiple stands, multiple stores, multiple, food vendor carts, like that, that's where you would do that. That's where you would be able to kind of see and track, Timmy over here has, taco stand number 1, and Johnny over here has taco stand number 2. If they are both having different sales data, or if you're running a competition, sometimes some people like to run competition between locations or run events. That's a good way to see. But if you're just starting with one location, or if you're just mobile, that's where you would just put your basic at as far as the location. Devices, there's really not much you have to do here. Essentially what will happen is every time that you log into a mobile device and you open up the Square register, it will register that device and say, hey, you have a mobile phone that has Square in it. That's right here. You also have a point of sale register that's at this location. And that's a good way also to kind of do some maintenance and some security audits. You want to check it and see, how many devices are logged in currently into my Square system. Because if you only have one phone and one iPad and one computer at home, but you see like 12 devices, that could be an issue. And that's when you need to start looking at some stuff. So having that is a pretty good thing for a security audit. Then you have some extra security options, the CCPA options. Then you have Square accessories. So you can order a Square reader, which is the little Square kit that pops and plugs into your headphone jack, used for mobile. You can get a marketing kit, which is, some nice little stickers and decals and stuff like that. You can order the stand if you're wanting to, really go all out with it. Sometimes you can order the stand brand new through them, and I think they offer some support and everything for it. But if you feel, if you've been with Square long enough and you feel comfortable, you could usually find the stands online for, a reduced price. Sometimes there might be a promo available to make it even cheaper. Who knows, maybe if enough people hit the referral code, maybe that could go towards some of that price. I'm not entirely sure, but there's ways to make the stand affordable. If you place an order for any of the accessories, then you can also check the order status there. And then online channels would be if you're selling, if you link Amazon, eBay, or Google up to your Square account, then, through those platforms, you can have sales go through there, but you would have to synchronize your item library first through those online channels. And this online channels option would be where you can do that. So that's the complete, or as much as I'm willing to get into, rundown of accounts and of the accounts. Once you've done all of that, and once you have access to everything, your first thing that you're going to want to do is add some items. So you open your little menu here, go to items, and then that's going to bring you to the overall item library. Now ours is probably going to take a minute to sync because we have quite a large amount of inventory, and you can see we have a lists of stuff. Now, as you can see, there's an item name, a category, the locations it's available at, so you can set it to where, like we have MGR distribution. Only certain items are available through distribution at a B2B rate. All certain items specifically have to be picked up in store, and B2B options are not available for it, regardless of who comes in and gets it. You can see we can see how much we have in stock. Looks like Sympathetic Shade of Black by Stacey Abernathy. It looks like we're actually down to 0, so that alerts me. When you put in your stock, you can also, there's a little check mark, you can click it, and that will tell you if you want to turn on stock alert. You can choose to turn on low stock alerts and keep the low stock alert at 0 or 1 or 5 or however you want to do it. And once it reaches that number in the low stock alerts, then you'll get an email saying, hey, low stock, you need to restock these specific items. So that's a good way to kind of keep track of it. You can see your pricing for each item. You also have a checkout link here. So if you, just want to copy a link and drop it over to your customer, they can click on that link and just go and check out with that one specific item and be done. So if you're only selling like one product, that's, you click copy the checkout link, click over here, open up an email or Facebook or whatever, right click, paste the link, boom, they can check out with it. Now these little 3 dots, you can just edit the item, you can duplicate it, or you can just copy the checkout link, or if you mess up, make a mistake, you can just delete it. So I'm going to open up one of our items. Let me see. We actually got some new adorable. Man, I want to pull one of those up and see. Okay, here we go. This is a little unicorn nightlight that we just got for me. So right here, you can see we have an image of them. We have the name of the product. We have the category, which the way we do it is our categories inside the point of sale. We go by the distribution channel, so that way whenever we get a low stock notification, we can say, oh, this is low stock, the category is this distribution channel, so we can then open up that distribution channel, go ahead and load that into a cart. Once our cart hits the threshold for us to reorder, then we can push that through. That happens, and we have a restock happening. We have the general description of the item. We have the locations that it's available at. These are not available from B2B. If people want to buy these, they have to go through the same distribution channels that we go through. Some of our products are that way, like I explained previously. And then any taxes that apply. So since this is available at Magnap Games, we have our taxes, which is our state, our local, and our processing fee. Now variations, if you have any specific details, so this is where you put the UPC or the store specific SKU. You can sell it, per item, per case, however you want to do it. This is the price per item, 6. Actually, we don't have a low stock alert on this one, so this is a perfect opportunity. And so we'll click enable low stock alert. Low stock alert will be here. Make sure that's turned on. And we want a low stock alert when we reach 1. So whenever we wind up with one of these in stock, if they start selling really fast, then that lets us know, hey, we got to grab some more. And then we click done, and that's it. Now I'll get an email whenever that runs low. These are modifier sets that we've done for specific things. If we're running events, these modifiers are applicable. You won't have any modifier sets, just like custom attributes, you won't have any starting off. Point of sale behavior, you can skip the detail screen. Don't worry about that. Online checkout, you want to make sure that that's enabled, so that way you can share this link. So that way, if people want to buy this from you, you can just click share the link and send it wherever it needs to go. If you don't have an online checkout option, they're not really going to be able to purchase from you. So, taxes look good. As far as the image, that's another thing that we need to go through. We have an image here. You can choose change image, or you can click right here in the center of the square, and that will bring you up the option to browse for an image on your computer or on your phone, and you can add it there. If you just want to color code your items, you can just do this, and it'll just be a color coded square with the first 2 letters. But since we have a nice image, we're going to leave that there. We're going to save our changes, and that takes care of that. So we've gone over the basic. You would just click on create an item, same platform that we went through, unicorn. So now let's go back to our home, because there's one last thing to do. Let's take a payment. So let's say somebody wants to buy multiple items. You can't just copy the link to each item, because then they're going to check out on one item here, one item here. Usually if people have to check out and pay and go through the entire payment process, usually they're only going to go through one. So if you try to send up 3 different links to 3 different products, you're probably not going to get 3 different sales unless they really, really like you, or they really, really like your product. So right here, you can do a quick charge. If you've already discussed pricing with them, you can just put in the amount, put in a note, and then you can, manually input their card number and card information, or you can record a cash payment right here. If you don't have the mobile application, if you're doing this, the platform you would use. Everything else runs easily and smoothly through the point of sale process, but while you're waiting on that to come in, you might want to do this for credit card processing. Entirely up to you. One bit of information: if you do a manual card enter, there is going to be a higher percentage fee. I think it goes from like 2.6 and 10 cents to about 3.5% and maybe 15 cents. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know that it is a higher fee if you manually enter the card. The reason is because when you manually enter a card, there's a higher risk, not a higher chance, but a higher risk, because people can then try to claim, if you have somebody that may come along and just claim that they didn't make that purchase, because you manually entered it in, then you have to verify everything. So because of that, manually entering in card details costs a little bit more, so you get a little bit added protection to it. You can also choose to split the payment, so that way you can choose to take a certain percentage by card, a certain percentage by cash. Somebody may only have $10 in cash, but they want to pay the rest on their card. You could do that. I don't like to do the quick charge option, because usually if I've discussed something with either A, I've sent them an estimate and they've approved that and there's already a pending invoice, or B, they already know what all they're looking at and they're probably not going to make the sale. So the quick charge just doesn't don't like it. I like an itemized sale because I want to give my buyers confidence. I want them to be able to see every item that they're getting. I want them to be able to see a breakdown of every cost that they are paying. An itemized sale is what I will always go with. And so what you would do is you could click here to create a new customer account, put their name in, or you can search for a customer that you may already have in your system. Now, this is how, Square is able to have such an extensive database of customer names, because these cards, as they're assigned to customer names, once they're used in another store, then boom, that pops up in their customer registry. So that allows a ease of access for you. This is a note, so if you have any specific notes to the customer, that'll be here. And then amount or item. So like here, if we click, now ours does take a few moments to load. Let's say somebody comes in, wants to buy, some 2-piece boxes. They want to get supplies. Now right now, you can see we have $4.95. Our Louisiana state tax, about 20%, processing 17%, and then our city tax is about 27%, or 27 cents, not percents. These are values. I'm a little tired. We've been installing a new ramp, and it's prolonged. And then, you can just click here, and you can just scroll down to whatever item you want to add in, or you can begin typing. Let's say a little the unicorn. Oh, we added too many. So then we just click the X, and that removes one. Let's say we want to do a LumiPet that isn't in the system. Let's say a LumiPet owl. In that case, we would use a custom item, and we would say, okay, well, they're the same price, so 24.95. Now, I want to go here to customize because we just added a new item. You want to make sure that your taxes and any discounts are correct. Now, we have a special order surcharge, so if we have to order specific parts or something like that, we have to expedite the process, then we usually tack on a little bit extra. Now, you see with a custom item, it automatically turns on every tax. So, we're going to turn off the special order surcharge, and we're going to save that. Now, that ensures that all these items are taxed the same, because you see the special surcharge that was on here before is now zeroed out. Now, the best way to make sure that that doesn't even pop up and become an issue is to make sure that all of your inventory is correct. That's just good inventory management behavior. So we're going to close that. So once that's done, you would scroll down here, either search for your customer information, or you could type it in just like we did with this here. And then you would put the card number, expiration, billing zip code, and the CVV, which is the 3-digit code on the back of the card. And then you would just click charge. And that's all there is to taking payments. Now, that goes over the entire process. Now, as far as setting up your taxes, that would be in the account setup platform that we went over earlier. And essentially you would have to reach out to possibly your state and your local governing bodies and find out exactly what their tax rates are. And you would have to most likely register with your local tax authorities, so that way you can make your tax payments. Now, one thing that I have to let you know, don't skip out on this. Please don't skip. Because it's going to cause you a world of trouble. Whenever you start selling physical goods and having transactions between you and other people within your community and within your area, you need to set up a taxing account. So this sets up all of your business accounts. Put your tax rates in, and it will charge taxes, so that way you get enough money to pay your taxes. You need to go to your local governing bodies. You need to reach out to your state. Whatever tax authorities you have in your area, you need need to reach out to them and see about setting up an account to pay your taxes. Most often in most areas, even in our little rural area, there's an online payment portal where you would go in, you would type in whatever your gross sales are for that month, and it would then calculate how much you have to pay them. Because you're taking the taxes in when you make a sale, you have to give that amount back to your governing bodies, whatever your tax authority is. So that's where the report options will come in handy. So if we go to reports, automatically going to pull up our sales summary. And so let's say last month, for the month of March, let's just click last month right here, pulls that up, and you can see, gross sales $2,021.60. Now discounts and comps $246.39. Net sales was $17.75. That's not a lot. That's a very bad sales month for us because we're a physical location, but we are not open 100%. We are still shuttered majority of the time because of the pandemic. We are doing a grand reopening on May the 7th, where we're going to open 100%, go back to our regular schedule, allow people to come back in, allow things to get back to normal, because we have a vaccine and we want to encourage people to go and get it. So by having events, having things like that, the goal is to inspire people, educate people out to get the vaccine. But once things get back to, you can see right here, whenever you go to pay your taxes, this is how much you did in sales. You'll copy that number, put it into your tax calculation portal, and then there'll be an option where you can choose any discounts, refunds, or comps, or anything like that. You can copy and put that in there. And in some instances, some governing bodies allow you to count comps. Some people allow you to, count discounts. Some people don't. It all depends on your governing body and your tax. You can see right here, taxes, we took in $251.16. So that means that between our state and our local government, they're going to roughly get about that much. Now granted, like 3% of that will probably go back to Square for processing fees, but the rest of that goes to our state and local governing. So total sales, 2026 total. You can also see the payments collected, how much was gift card, how much was other, how much was card, how much was cash, what the fees were. So you can see out of that $251.16, fees were $55.95. So you see the governing authority, it'll probably come up to about $190 something. That, you can kind of see right there, you can kind of get a feeling of how much, you have to pay in taxes for that. I'm not a tax authority. That's something you would have to reach out to them. Give some insight just from what I've done. But that's about as I've got. Back home. Let's see what else there is. Now you can see up here, there's a slight notification. I didn't even recognize it until just now. It says build customer relationships, use on-demand delivery to encourage diners or, customers to order directly from you, not marketplace sites such as Amazon or eBay. Square Online collects customer data you can use for marketing campaigns or loyalty programs. So that's where the loyalty program would come in. There's also Square Marketing where you can send emails. And so, that's just prompting me to set up delivery if I want to go through that entire process. Usually we handle a lot of stuff, through our website. It's already set up. We have a few local delivery options, but for extended delivery, that's why I'm getting the prompt. But occasionally you'll have notifications that'll come up in this same kind of area. You can also kind of hit the red bell here. It says, notifications, you're up to date. So if there's anything that's specific to our business, notification-wise, this is where we'll be. This is a message tool here, so you can see, we have, a couple customers there, such as anybody viewing invoices, any invoices that we extend would all be there. You could also use the message tool to click in the little section and choose a customer name, and you could then send a message direct to your customer. So if you are working in a sensitive project environment and you don't want to share information over the phone, you can actually do a written message directly to your customer that way. And so that ensures that your customer actually gets, the information that they need. So there's no cross communication and there's no problems. I think that's pretty much going to cover basics of everything. So we've made it in just under an hour. So I hope that this has been educational. I hope that this has helped, and I hope that if you do choose to go with the Square point of sale system and the payment processing platform, to use that referral code, or swing by our Facebook page, our Twitch, our YouTube, Instagram, anything like that. Drop us a like, drop us a follow. Reach out to us, let us know, hey, this has helped me out. Or if you have any recommendations or any questions, let me know. Occasionally, we stream a lot of video games. Occasionally, we'll just hang out, and sometimes I'll come on here and do these informational posts. I'm working from home today, so it's a bit of a mess. But I hope this has helped somebody. And we'll be going offline here in just a few minutes. Also, just to kind of throw something out there, our role-playing game that we publish, we are actually doing a revised copy of it. So that's going to be coming out later on this year, along with an expansion. And we also have one of our first adventure modules. It's almost complete. That should be rolling out in possibly mid-June. We are also taking pre-orders on the Van Richen's Guide to Ravenloft, and we are also holding Magic the Gathering tournaments, Pokemon tournaments, and things of that nature once we reopen completely. So if you're in the general area of Bogalusa, Louisiana, then feel free to swing by, check us out. And I think that's pretty much all that we have. So I hope this has helped. Have a good day.